Warriors Unite! Back with an episode of Bigger Warriors 2 in the 1% Club. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys had a nice weekend. Hope you guys are conquesting yourselves and conquesting things around you then in God's purposes. So thank you guys for all the likes and the donations and all the suggestions of topics. Continue to do that. It's great that we have a bunch of topics coming. I have a bunch of them listed here. It's great to kind of get to that point that you guys are kind of pushing the channel the way you want to push it with different things and we're talking about. So we're going to talk about anxiety a little bit today, and then we're going to continue then tomorrow and talk about marriage and feeling a lot of energy during SR, a lot of different topics you guys want to talk about. And I'm going to try to catch all of them over the next few weeks that I can. And so please keep sending those in as we get along. Let's do some shout outs here. We got a chance. Jon the Dawn, thank you, my friend. In Earnest, thank you. God's Gladiator, I appreciate it. Jennings, thank you. Legokingiscool, thank you. Strange Future, thank you. Thanks for all your ideas and comments. I appreciate that, Strange Future. Yongfehong, 4548, thank you. Relentless Assault, thank you. Knowledge Harvester, I appreciate it, thank you. Joshua Anzalone, thank you. Warpath Buckness, thank you. Tony Montana, thank you, my friend. Easter/Sunday, thank you. Cologne X Candles had a couple, thank you, Cologne. Chunh 6741, thank you. TKO, thank you. MK Hole, thank you. Prosperity, thank you. My Passive Freedom, thank you. Agustin March, thank you. Giodude, thank you. GS Speak, thank you. Junior, and then Segar Srivastavo, day 124. Now, this is obviously a little bit late, but you guys, I hope that streak is continuing, and keep going, my friend, keep going. All right, so the 2-minute mark, let's kind of talk about our topic here. So we're talking about one, and several of you guys have talked about this and asked why and trying to kind of figure out what we're talking about when we talk about this topic. So anxiety, and you look at the Bible and talks about the fact that you should have no thought or no anxiety for the morrow. And that's very true. You should have a very strong faith. Your God, you should not have any kind of worry about things. But we're all in a process of a journey, and we're all in that journey process when it comes to the Lord, to your Creator. And so your faith is not totally 100%. So, you're getting closer, and a lot of people are very close. Maybe some people are not very close. But there's going to be things that you still get concerned about. You may not totally get anxiety from or worry from, but you're going to get some concern. Now, a lot of people also, one of the benefits is that your anxiety level goes really far down when you start doing semen retention. You keep all those nutrients inside of you. You are a stronger, more individual. You're more tough mentally because you don't get as reactive emotionally with things, because that's all being more regulated and controlled because of all the nutrients and things that you keep in your body. When you deplete yourself, it's easy to do that. It's at least my experiences when I've had over the years. And so as I look at this now, my anxiety level has gone way, way down. But are there still things that I get concerned about? Yes. And there's some things that I bother with and I think about? Yes. Some of that is emotional stress, and that's energy you could lose as well, besides the physical. So part of it is that you're going to have some type of anxiety. Now, what are the types of things that you might have anxiety about? Well, let's kind of look at some of these things. So a lot of you also, I'm going to kind of bring in other types of issues along with this that make people anxious or make people not want to do SR, things like that, or semen retention. Or they call it continence back in the old days, whatever the term you want to make. You're using self-control, celibacy, brahmacharya. Some people may choose not to do that because of certain reason. All right, so when we look at this, there's people have had anxiety over different things. They have anxiety over retention because they think that retention is dangerous. The old thought for many, many, many years is the fact that, it was dangerous to release. You go back to a lot of studies back in the 1800s and into the 1850s up to the 1900s, 1920s. And so, people had the thought that, well, if you released, you had, you could actually go ahead and have, your eyesight would be affected, bad eyes, mental, you go crazy, all kinds of stuff that had those ideas based in research. Well, coming forward, once we hit the me generation in the 60s, a lot of that stuff changed. So doctors and everybody kind of felt we're in a new generation. So you should be able to do all that stuff. Shouldn't be a problem. And so it's good for your prostate. It's all good for all that kind of stuff. And so people started doing it. And now you see all kinds of doctors recommending, doing it 4 or 5 times a week, all that kind of stuff. And so now we're in a trend going the other direction where people tend to want to do it all the time. Well, the old research to me is still very valid. And I've experienced that now in reverse. Over 1,500 days now, I've experienced the idea that, I feel 100% better. Now, do I have anxiety still? Yes. Part of that is because I had 47 years of going back and forth of a lot of bits of depression, bits of, suicide types of things, all kinds of stuff. And I attribute a lot of that to this whole idea of releasing. The idea that you go back and forth as a young person and you think this is what we should be doing. And it's kind of like this matrix that you sit there, look at, that is really not wrong. You guys have seen the Matrix movie and you know that it's a false type of world, but you're taught this way. You're brainwashed in many ways because of the way the world is, what they're pushing on television, all the media and everything, so-called doctor reports. And I've been in research for many years, and I realized a lot of that stuff the numbers can be moved around, the numbers can be changed. Research is not always very accurate, and it hasn't been checked. So you need to check it by reliable sources, and even that could be mistaken. There could be a lot of other reasons for things that are correlated to each other, or are analysis to each other, or connected to each other. So the thing is that there's not always a cause and effect type relationship between these type of things as well. But we go back to this idea that people had this idea that it's now okay to do all this. Well, I think now it's starting to shift back a little bit, and people realize that was all false. There's research now kind of showing, and I don't have a specific study, but I heard about this on one of the shows that I was kind of focusing on recently, focusing on the fact that now there's some indication that prostate cancer is not, affected that much by the fact that you have you're not releasing, and so that's kind of now moving in the other direction, and research is showing that this is a good form of not, of healing, of, feeling better, all those type of things, because you're not releasing. You're holding that nutrients in. We talk about health, we talk about vitality, we talk about vigor, we talk about all these things. All these are positive types of things because people tend to want to keep what the Creator's given you inside of yourself. And so as a result of that, you're not feeling as anxious. You're not feeling as depressed. Now, is it a panacea, a cure-all for everything? No, especially when you have many, many years of this. My body is still reacting to a lot of that. So what you see in front of you now is probably some level of a person moving in the right direction. But when you have 47 years of going in the wrong direction, back and forth, now, it wasn't always perfect 47 years. I mean, there was some good times, some okay periods of time. But for the most part, it wasn't the perfect type of situation. So when you're trying to become better and better as the time goes on, now you're in a situation where things are getting better. And so you can see this, and I see the effect of myself after, now, almost more than 3 years of focusing on this. Now I have a long, long way to go, and because I'm in monk mode, I have periods where I have trouble with monk mode, and I have to start again. And so I, just like you guys talking about no FAP and talking about releasing and all those type of things, that's not my issue at this point in time because I've kind of moved past that part. But my issue still obviously is the thinking about things and the lust and the thinking, all those type of things up there. And so that's the part that I still struggle with, and that's something that has to be overcome. But when you have 47 years of it, you're going to end up still having moments where you've got to kind of keep that in check because it's always going to be there. Same thing with the anxiety. You know, I used to worry a lot about things and worry about, work, jobs, money, all kinds of stuff. And so because of that, I had high anxiety. And so this never didn't help. Obviously, releasing and those kind of things don't help that at all. So it has gone way down. But the issue still is that you still have the problems of, your past experience. Now, if you're a young person, you don't have as much of that, so you won't probably have as much anxiety. But this prostate thing is something that we've talked about before, and there is some research starting to show that, the doctors may not have been totally correct on this as well. And I think that you have to kind of look to say, okay, how does it make you feel? Now, all I can tell you is that after 1,500 days, almost over 3 years now of this, it is really a fact that in my mind that I am 100% better than I was. And the idea was that I started this because I had no other place to go. And I said, I prayed to my creator and I said, I'm going to go monk mode. I'm just going to go monk mode. And this was back when I was like 59 years old, close to it, almost 4 years ago. Now I'm 63, maybe 60 years old. So right before COVID, before the pandemic. So, I sat there and I said, I'm going to take this opportunity. And I know that because I was really high in anxiety, all kinds of stuff was happening. Even though I was doing Kendler's book, Fountain of Youth, the first 5 exercises, and I was having good success. It wasn't that bad. But now it's dramatically changed because of the 6th exercise, which includes semen retention and transmuting energy up. And because I've learned how to do that, all of a sudden, now I have a whole different type of reaction. On the boosters also had a comment. This was Jack Trades talking about the prostate cancer type of thing. I don't feel that's the case, in my opinion. I'm not obviously a doctor, but I would definitely look at all that research because I'm understanding that some of the stuff is now changing, that it's not as bad as people thought it was, those type of retention stuff. And you have to think about this logically, my friends. All these years, we've had people who were celibate, and did it affect them in that way? I don't think so. So I would say go back and look at that. But make your own choice. Do that your own choice and look at the research and see what is that research. But, we've had celibacy, brahmacharya for years, thousands of years. And so there hasn't been that kind of problem in the past. So it's hard for me to imagine that all of that was wrong and what doctors are saying now is totally right. So I think we're starting to see that's changing around a little bit. Let's see. Anda Booster also had a question talking about waking up and dreams and things you have. And so I don't always felt like this was actually an important type of thing to me because when I was younger, I did have it a couple times where I would have, in the middle of the night, I would release and not realize it or realize it when I got up in the morning. I didn't really count that. I don't really count the days too much. I'm only doing it for just kind of perspective and kind of see where I'm at. I don't really keep track of it. I certainly don't announce it on the channel anymore because, except for when I talk about it once in a while, but I used to have titles that indicate 900 days and whatever it might be. But that's not that important because it's a lifestyle change. It's a lifestyle change, and what you're doing is you're going to do this the rest of your life, because you have now committed to it. My problem for 47 years was I was not committed. I knew in the back of my mind, this was the right thing to do. The right thing to do is not be releasing 3-4 times a week, whether you're sleeping with people, whether you're watching pictures, whatever it might be. The right thing to do is use that energy to transmute it to find success and do successful things. And once you do that, then you're able then to see, I think, closer to your creator, closer to the creation and the ideas that they have to be able to do things. And I think that's important. So I don't really count the wet dreams as part of the, breaking the streak. Those things will happen. I did talk about in one of the video, those type of things you have to do to be able to overcome that or try to overcome it. You're not going to possibly do it because I think the devil is working in the middle of the night trying to get you to get back to the old pattern, especially if you haven't done it for a while, and they want you to continue to get that sense that feeling, so they may continue doing that. The devil may be trying to keep doing it to you, so they're going to hit you in the middle of the night with succubuses or whoever it might be to suck up your energy, because they want you to go back to that feeling of dependency of having to release all the time. But obviously you don't want to follow that. So I think there's a couple of good points there. I think we have to kind of look at saying, okay, what is it that is important when it comes to retention? And that's being more clear, more healthier, less mental issues when it comes to depression, anxiety, focusing on the positive types of things, more clarity. And of course, we talk about the physical attributes that, my body's changed a lot since I've been on retention, even as changed over these videos we've done for the last few years. Come a long way with different types of looks and things like that because of a lot of the retention stuff, and because I've kept it and been able to kind of use it in a constructive way to build myself up more. I've had a lot more energy, which is another one of those benefits, and obviously a lot more attraction and things like that, even though, that's not in my mind the major goal, because I'm, happily married for many, many years. That's not really the key issue to me. But I know a lot of younger people it is, and that's something to be, to kind of, look at and to say, okay, this is one of those kind of positive consequences of that happening. So when we talk about this, we talk about anxiety, we talk about the fact that on semen retention, on, continence, however you want to call it, you're really in self-control. You're really talking about reducing the amount of anxiety you have. My case was very high when I finally decided to go monk mode, and all of a sudden it started dropping. And the more I kept my energy, the more I was able to use the energy, the less I really have concern. Is it totally gone? No. I'm not going to say it's totally gone. I think there's times when you do feel a little bit of twinge. There's times you do feel a little bit of anxiety. You think about something, those things still pop up, but they're a lot less frequent. And I can tell that I'm moving in the right direction because they are less frequent and because they're less noticeable, and I feel calmer. One of the things that's going to happen to you as you are on this streak longer and longer is that more of a sense of calmness and peace. And that's really what I was looking for. I'm looking to get closer to God, which means there'd be more peace. And the paradise with God is, to my mind, at least in my mind, is peace, happiness, and just feeling fulfilled and not having to have any sort of other types of, physical, material things in my life. And that's a transition we all have to make at some point. And I'm 63, so it's taken me a while, but I'm moving in the right direction because I feel a lot more happier. I feel a lot more calmer. I can still scream, but most of the time I'm very, very calm. And I like that way. Peaceful. I feel very peaceful. And so it's a lot different than I used to feel, a lot different than things in the past. And that's why I'm moving. I know I'm moving in the right direction. All right, my friends. Well, anyway, I hope this helped a little bit. I think I covered everything I wanted to do in this one. Thank you, Jack, and thank you, Andana Boosters, for comments in this category. We're going to kind of talk about a little bit more tomorrow about marriage. I'm going to focus on that. I've been married over 30 years, and I'll focus about this. And I know Knowledge Baraka had a question about, are you weaker with sex with your wife? Does your wife also age in reverse if she's on retention? And she talking about sex without emission, things like that. We'll talk about this, and I think it's Hayakawa had basically had a question with that. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. But I want to kind of save that one for tomorrow. But I hope this one helped you with anxiety. And obviously, if you have some questions and you need help, I'll try to answer those. I don't always get to everyone that I see, but I'm going to try to get to as many as I can as time goes on. I try to check them every week to kind of see where we're at and add shout outs and things like that. So, all right, my friends, I hope you guys have a great day. And two things I always like to leave you with. One, first of all, every day is a new day to a great warrior, and you guys are all great warriors. And number two, guys, we have to continue to battle great day, my friends. God bless you.